Ooh, Bennington show. We're great friends with Sean Lennon, Les Claypool.
I feel very good about that.
But that we're pals with them?
Well, I feel good that we're pals with them. I feel good that I've covered the Lennon offspring. It's very important to me.
You've met both the Lennon kids. You know, I met Yoko years ago, right before she kind of went dark with everything. Everybody but John for me.
Yeah. You're lucky.
I
wish I met Yoko. I love her so.
How weird was it to hear Sean Lennon just bring up the Beatles?
Yeah, that was maybe the most surreal moment that I'm looking at like a mini John and Yoko. And he's like, well, you know, the Beatles would do. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
You just said it like anyone would just reference the Beatles.
And I was like making sure I didn't say the Beatles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you know, your dad's band was pretty good. Do you remember your dad's band? Remember?
It's awesome.
When you were in the Beatles? Greatest fucking sketch. Ba, ba, ba. I feel like I'm closer with Sean. You're closer with Les Claypool. Because you're
really,
both,
yeah?
Yeah, you're both kind of the oddballs.
Yeah, Mr. We Are the Weirdos.
He reminded me of Crumb, the artist.
Oh,
he had a Crumb
yeah.
vibe about him. I didn't want to bring that up. No. You look like and act like Crumb.
You think it's maybe the sexual deviancy is why maybe not to mention it? Wasn't he kind of a sexual deviant? I mean, he was sexual.
I kind of feel like everybody is a sexual deviant, and Crumb was just drawing the fantasies instead of saying them to his girlfriend. Beep, beep, beep. I forgot to tell you guys that I'm going to be at the Keswick Theater outside of Philadelphia.
Oh, that sounds
cool. It's going to be a fun little night. I don't even know whether I brought this up to you, but it's me, Robert Kelly, Jim Florentine, and Rich Voss at the Keswick Theater in Glenside, PA. KeswickTheater.com for tickets. This is basically Bobby Kelly putting this together, and what he tried to do, and I feel like I've used my cock to block it, but he wanted to call this Making Comedy Great Again and sell red hats with it. And I'm like, dude, I can't be fucking caught up in that.
No. He won't take kindly to that.
I don't want to end up in front of fucking Mueller. The last thing I know is I said to Voss that take the Russian to Kelly's. That's his idea of like a good idea.
Not good.
Would Trump come after you for that like trademark?
That's not what I'm concerned about, Chris. That's not my concern. My more of a concern was like, oh, good idea. 4 old fucking white guys complaining that there's not enough fucking old white comedians.
You guys need a voice.
Yeah, well, seems like we've had one. I'm very fucking happy with the fucking easy ride I've had.
You get the "Hello, Mr. Bennington" treatment from the world.
Yeah,
it's a nice thing to have.
I mean, I don't know any other way. You know what I mean? Like, you have running water, but you don't sit around and think about it every day. Mm-hmm. Fucking Libyan come over here. Jesus Christ, is that a fucking little waterfall in your house? I couldn't take the time to explain it to you. Yeah, most people, like, even if you're poor in this country, it's fucking better than being poor other places. Believe me, this fucking Larry Charles documentary, just the way the world lives.
It's really, really brutal. And it just really makes you realize the lucky ride we all got.
I mean, it's certainly better than being really fucking broke in Cincinnati. Cincinnati is a better thing.
Mm-hmm.
Than being, having some money somewhere else. A lot of times they're just going like this. Did you hear anything? I think the poor people are all coming through our windows because they're starving. Not because they're thieves. They're starving.
Right.
And, being gay is still like old school being gay most places. You know, like, hey, I want to get together for a date. Try not to tell anybody or they'll kill us. So
this better be a good date then.
Yeah, it'll be a good date. In this, he does a whole thing on gender, and Larry Charles, the Unmasked, is coming up in a little bit, but his show on Netflix, The Dangerous World of Comedy, is so, there's fucking comedians who get killed all the time, but then they were showing like gay people in this country, like Liberace, denying it, and so they get around to House of Cards. House of Cards is sitting there. I forget his real name. I think it's House. Is that it? Is it House?
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey. So he's in this fucking interview that's actually like the 90s. And you see him going, no, I'm in a relationship, and they're like, oh, well, who is she? And you just see him go like this. Her name is Diane. You're just like, maybe that's why the motherfucker's fucked up. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here he is in the 90s, and he can't fucking say, or his career will be fucked up. He won't ever be able to do a rom-com or play a dad. So he's like, Diane. Diane, she's pretty. Diane's so pretty, and she can't keep her hands off me.
She works at a bar in Boston.
And like, here's the thing. She's cheery. I met her through my friend Sam. I used to date. But see how, things are fucked. No one can ever say, you know what I mean? We have people. Obviously, there's a ton of foot fetish people in this country, and you just never hear, man, oh, I love sucking on a fucking foot, Jimmy Fallon. I get that fucking foot right up to my face. I'm surprised they didn't come right then. I don't even think I know anyone with a foot fetish, or at least that admits to it. I have a feeling Earl does. Earl's a foot.
You think so?
No.
Yeah.
Do you think they're gross? You think feet are gross?
He also thinks pussy's gross. By the way, look at the bully boys just laughing.
Yeah,
Ron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get him.
I know someone with a foot fetish, but he didn't admit it. It was just became apparent to everyone. And then after girls hooked up with him, it was like, yes, he has a foot fetish.
The girls are like, I can't even keep my feet dry around this fucking dude. I'm having to fucking use powder like I was in Vietnam every day to make sure I put powder all over my fucking feet.
Swamp foot.
They're just soaked. He's down there slobbering all over him like a fucking Saint Bernard. Look how quiet Earl's being. You are being so quiet. You know why I said you got an Eddie Murphy vibe, and I think Eddie Murphy has a foot thing. Well, you got more of a Charlie Murphy, but I want to be.
A girl I met on Tinder.
Oh boy, here we go.
She we were about to be intimate, and this was like our second date, and
So
she says,
grossed out.
"I don't."
Yeah, it's already gross somehow.
And she told me, "I don't want to fetishize you, but I really like fat guys." I was like,
You just don't mention it. You don't mention it.
She brought it up. I was like, what the fuck? Let's just have sex. Don't bring up my weight that I'm aware of.
Like, why can't you just live in a world where you just think she enjoys it just for you? Just so you know, the only reason I'm doing this, your personality is terrible, but it's your weight that's working for me.
Yeah.
Did it fuck with your heart on? You're like, I don't know if this is, you know what I mean?
Were you thinking about it while you were like?
So she likes, like, if she touches me, like, why is she touching my stomach? Oh, it's because she loves fatties and can care less about me as a person.
You're rubbing your belly all over. You fucking like that? You like that?
Just smothering her with his huge belly.
He's just fucking freaking out.
Oh my god, that makes me so happy.
Do you have her number?
Fucking Vito! Chris gets off a fucking big joke, and then Vito, and the Earl's sucking on his dick. You know, I have a fucking friend who, is a big girl, and she's always complaining about, men and beauty and all that kind of shit. And then I'm like, well, there's fucking people that are into people your size. She goes, I don't want some freak with a fetish. And I'm like,
you can.
People like petite Asian women or fucking tall blondes. That's fetishizing as well. If you're like, I'm only into stunningly beautiful women, that's a fucking fetish.
Well, this is something that I always think about is what is weirder if you find out that your boyfriend or someone you're dating, your girlfriend, everyone they've dated looks exactly like you, or everybody looks nothing like you and they're a totally different type. Would you rather be the person who broke the mold, or would you be so weirded out if it was just like a bunch of clones of you?
I think anytime that thought enters your mind, it's over. You know what I mean? And you're like, why? But there was a movie, Crash, not the fucking Oscar piece of shit, but this was about a dude who was into car crashes.
Yeah, I remember that.
Car crash scars and shit like that. And I'm like, I was watching this movie. I'm like, man, I'm glad all these people found each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What the fuck if somebody's into a fucking giant leg scar? How is that any different if they're into small breasts or fucking big breasts?
You know what the funny thing is? I find that comfort when I feel happy for furries. I just think look at you crazy bastards. Who would ever think that you would find each other? Who would even think if you don't have that fetish, why would you imagine that fetish exists? It's it's not just animal. It's no, cartoon animal, and you can feel their fluffy fur.
Now, do you think that came from little kids grinding against their fucking teddy bears?
I think it's got to do that, and also maybe first time that you have a sexual feeling, but maybe a cartoon. So it's the two of those things coming together.
Anime definitely proliferated that furry thing.
Who's this guy think he is? You know what I mean?
Look, fatty, you just sit there and look pretty.
Unbutton that shirt a little bit.
Yeah.
Give us all a show.
You know what? I'm gonna order you some pancakes.
I wish he was a feeder.
Feeder.
But do you think all these cosplay people people are like, man, I'm really into Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? That kind of shit.
Yeah.
Because they all go to these fucking comic book conventions.
Yeah, because all of them always just dress up as Lara Croft anyway, right? They just want to be sexy Lara Croft.
I feel like they're old. You know what I mean? I got to be into a Captain Marvel these days.
I've seen something on Pornhub in the cosplay community that's really weird. It's dragon dildos. It's a big thing on Pornhub now where it's a big purple dildo that I guess would be shaped like a dragon's dick.
You go to the communities?
No,
you don't
Dude, I've actually seen these before, and they have make-believe dildos.
Oh, yeah, I do know.
And then they're oh, this is what a dragon would look like. This is a unicorn's dick, but it's just made up.
Yeah.
But for some reason, the thought of I'm being fucked by a unicorn.
I think it's better than having a horse dildo. You know what I mean? 'Cause you can find a fucking horse or a dog pretty fucking quickly. And I think the Star Trek people fuck around with each other wearing their uniforms still.
Yeah, they like green chicks. They like people in red shirts.
People in red shirts. I have this really weird fetish.
Well, that's really good for Man U. Earl gets so quiet during any
I'm still kind of spinning my head about Chris's story about.
You're digging it?
No.
Like that?
Yeah, you were fucking turned on a little bit because you can't keep any body fat going.
I was just shocked.
You like fatties too?
Black guys do like fat chicks.
Did they like them or just get stuck with them? Discuss. Yeah, fucking. Yeah, that's. I think. I think people have fetishized black fucking dudes, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a big thing.
But
it's
the black guys don't take that the wrong way.
I don't know. I guess it depends on the guy, but I think just like with Chris, I feel like when a man finds out that they're fetishized, they're just shocked and excited because they're like, I didn't even know men in general could be fetishized.
Yeah. Well, some women are into really fucking hairy dudes, and then other women want you as like a dolphin skin.
Yeah.
They don't even want a waxed guy or a shaved guy.
Yeah.
By the way, this is where Chris Stanley comes back in.
Yeah.
There was somebody not too long ago that was grossed out by your lack of hair.
Fuck. Yeah, I remember.
guess that we had.
It was a guest. It was a
Was it
woman.
Molly?
No, someone like very recently.
Yeah, it was like last week. They were weirded
That's
out.
really fucking bad that we're doing that. But the thing is, like, no one expects a fucking thin guy to be hairy. You know what I mean?
No.
They just
Yeah.
want a big guy to be fucking hairy.
Thin, hairy guys look weird. Like it's just because.
See, that's just me.
No, it is because I guess there's less body mass, so the hair clumps up more. But it's fucking weird
Yeah,
looking.
it does seem like they have more hair. You're right about that. It does. I'm like, you don't have to shave down, but just fucking run a shear through there. It's fucking sheeping season.
Yeah. Mine is just nice and spread out amongst my body. There's a lot of it, but it has to cover a lot of mass, so it's
Yeah,
spread
but
out.
you got more on your back than you do on your chest, and that's a problem.
My shoulders and back
Shoulder
are my
is-
problem area.
There's a movie probably came out in like 78 or 79 with Albert Brooks called Modern Romance, and he is in bed with this girl and his shirt's off, and he's the hairiest fucking thing this side of Robin Williams. And like years later, he was going, yeah, that's the regret that people bring that up to me all the time. You know, like nobody back then was waxing or shaving. You know, you just hey, this is it. You know, what am I going to do about it? It was like having a club foot. Like, hey, can't be corrected.
Vito, have you ever thought about waxing?
Tons, but I just don't know where to stop, and I feel like that'll look weird.
Well, you're gonna have someone do it for you.
No, I mean, but it'll look weird. Like if I just get waxed here, then it just looks like it because my hair starts on my shoulders, goes to like this area, and then what? I'm just gonna have hair just here, and then
Yes, like
a line.
Why don't you go into a place and let a fucking chick figure it out?
Yeah.
And you just sit there quietly and just whatever you do is fine.
Okay, I'll get waxed. I'll get this body cleaned up.
It just goes from nothing, like he has a thought to it, to this thing, and nothing is going to happen. Zero will happen.
I mean, I'm gonna have to think about it and compare places and prices.
Look, I'll cover the bill. I'm happy to do it.
Easy. It's gonna be like 13 grand. When it's gonna like putting in a fucking driveway. Come on, Earl. What are you into? Girl in a chair? Is that your thing? I always find that sexy.
The girl in the chair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was
Because I feel like, oh fuck, man, they got to put up with all kinds of shit. This is a tough chick.
always fascinated with the nipple.
Oh god, that's so fucking weird. I am so grossed out.
Serial killers say this.
Like he wants to take it all.
By the way, I would go back to fucking Chris being a fucking sideshow freak for this fucking horny bitch. Fascinated with the nipple.
Vito's expression says it all.
Like what? Cutting it off? Like fucking taking an
No.
X-Acto knife and just
I'm like, what do you mean by fascinated? Like you ponder it.
like a
Kissing
man's
it.
nipple?
Kissing it, licking it. The
Men's nipple.
A woman's nipple.
What's the difference? It's a nipple at this point.
Yeah.
It's just to go fucking start licking Vito's nipple.
Here,
Look, there it
Daddy.
is.
Daddy, come over here and lick my nipple, Daddy.
Don't say dad. Dad is so much worse than daddy.
That's exactly right.
He said, lick my nipple, dad. It's horrible.
Sorry, I don't have experience.
If a girl says to you, Dad, you're like, what the fuck did you just say? That's fucking horrible. Because a daddy is like a pimp.
Yeah, I'm
You know
not.
what I mean? A daddy is a nickname
Yeah.
for somebody who's flashing some cash.
But dad is a father.
You're just like, come on, father, lick it.
Father.
That's it.
Father.
You're my parent.
Oh, father.
Oh, father, how could you do this with my nipple?
Earl, you sounded like in the 40-year-old version when he's like, I just bags of sand.
That's the weirdest thing is Earl might be the biggest creep here.
Oh, without a doubt.
In this house of creeps, though.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a terrible creep, but Earl fucking blows me away. I would never say something
You
like
fucking had to put on a G-string and dance for a girl from Tinder. I need it. What exactly did she say to you?
She said she prefaced it with the, I don't want to fetishize you. But
First of all, why even bother with that?
Don't tell me.
I
Like,
know.
why would you say that?
Yeah.
And then she said,
I mean, this was like you guys were already in bed.
yeah. This was after some heavy makeout sex types. Like we were going to have sex,
Right.
and then she busts out, I don't want to fetishize you, but I really am into fat guys.
Did you fucking follow it up? You're like, how fat? Like, what are those 600 pounders?
I couldn't ask a follop question to like how fat.
Did you feel like
Should I eat more?
This is after she had you tuck your dick and fucking.
what if the next thing she had said is, I'm really into fat guys, but you're the fattest that I've ever had.
Are you saying I'm a Moby Dick freak?
She's just making you. Can I weigh you? Can I put you on a scale right now?
Look at the nips, Earl. She's got the nips out.
Earl was ready to jerk off on her dick.
Well, I'm not.
Oh, no.
No, I'm not. No way, son.